Hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're creating 5 cards using one stamp set. I'm using a stamp set from Altenew called Pen Sketch Flowers. And I created this video back in August and I haven't gotten around to editing it until now. So it's kind of exciting for me as well to see what I actually created and how they looked on screen and everything. So maybe it's a good thing that it went a little bit of time before I did this voiceover. So if you can hear some background noises, that is my 3-month-old baby boy. He's sitting here in my knee. He's quite happy at the moment. I hope he will stay that way into all this editing. So you can see I started off with just inking up a bunch of these flowers in this stamp set. I used a waterproof ink and for the 2 of them. And I also went in with a Sharpie here just to create that last bit of line so they were connected. Now I'm prepping my surface here with an anti-static bag and I will heat emboss this image. I use some Versamark ink to create that. You can see I'm speeding this off and you can see I'm using a piece of vellum. When you use vellum and adhesive that you have to be really careful, but I'm doing all my heat embossing off screen just to save some time. Here I'm creating my own background pattern for one of my cards. It's a light gray paper that I'm using. I don't know if the camera is picking that up, but I think this is from Lawn Fawn. I can list it down below or you can write me if you can't find it, but it's from Altenew. You can find other companies that are also has similar gray colors. I know Simon Says Stamp has a fog ink that I really like to use for stuff like this as well. And I'm just going ahead and using a smaller bit of that stamp to create the whole panel here. I went ahead and colored it in off screen with my Copic markers. I love Copic markers on light gray cardstock. I think it's such a neat effect. And this color combination, the pink coral pink I would say, with this minty green is one of my absolute favorite together with that gray. So here you can see how they all turn out. The first one here we're actually not going to use. I just keep that in this video so you can see how it looked. And that it's an option. If you wanted to, you could actually create a second card with that one, but I really didn't like how it turned out. So you will see my 5 cards here. It will be another one. So that was what I have been coloring. I colored some with my Altenew watercolors. This is actually one of my favorite palettes ever. I'm using it. I have been using it a ton, and that is the one you saw me color in a moment here. So that is that, and now we're gonna go ahead and start assemble these cards. You can see I laid out here. That is something also I like to do when I have created a lot of projects at the same time, just to get an idea of how I want this to look before I start to assemble them. Some are quite easy and some are a little bit more advanced. You can see the last card up. This one I will not actually create that. You can see I'm hesitating. So now we are starting to build this and start to assemble, and I actually chose not to have that last card. As you can see, I used some dies from MFT, and I'm using here some present seal to pick up all my flowers and to be able to put some adhesive to the back side, and I will use some double-sided adhesive. So that is something that could be good for you if you're fiddling around with all of these. It could be good to actually use some present seal or a post-it note or something else just to keep them together when you are assembling them. So here I had put on all the adhesive and I will press it down. You can see how easy this is released and how good it kept it together. So now I have my image here and I'm ready to put a sentiment on in a bit. I'm pressing this down. When I'm happy with all the placements, I'm pressing this down. You actually have a little bit of a bigger room with this if you're not happy with something. And the sentiment for this will be thankful for you, and I white heat embossed that on top of some black cardstock. I'm using a strip of foam adhesive to adhere that down. So here I'm assembling this card. I'm adhering it to this banner. This banner is from Concord and Ninth, and also the sentiment is from them. I hide some adhesive to the backside to create some dimension. And for our third card here, I'm taking some piece of the leftover vellum that we created, and I'm pressing them down on top on the backside of this watercolored flower that is absolutely gorgeous, I think. And I created a background for this one with just some gray ink and some of the greeneries there are in this stamp set. And I also white heat embossed a sentiment for that card that says "Thankful for you." On this card I'm gonna use a die from MFT that says "Congrats." Yes, congrats. And it's in gold, so it ties in well with the rest of the cards in this series. And I also use a happy birthday die. I cut it out of some white, and I think that matched well on top of our gray panel that we created. And I also have a border of white on my card base, so that ties in well with that one. I'm coating all of my flowers with some glitter pen here. You can see that I'm going around on every card creating some shimmer where I think it's needed, just to create a little bit more interest. And you will also see that I will go in with a black glaze pen to all the bits that are supposed to be black on these flowers, and that really helps these images pop to life. And on the cards that I used a black sentiment, or a black sentiment strip I would say, that also connects that card really well with that, because otherwise the black sentiment would be the only black on that card except the outlines of the image. So I think that ties it in really well as well. So that was something I am thinking of when I'm creating a set like this. If you're gonna give this away, I want them to coordinate well. And also a thing that I'm doing here, you can see I'm doing everything in steps. I started with the coloring, and then I cut everything out, and then I went ahead and used some shimmer, and then the black glaze pen, and now I'm embellishing it a little bit with some sequins. So when you do it like this, you have been thinking ahead of what you want to do, and you are doing it multiple at a time, it actually goes really fast. If I had done one card at a time, I think it would have taken me at least twice as long to create these 5 cards. So here you will see a close-up at all of my cards that I created back in August, and I hope you liked this video and got some inspiration for maybe a spring card or something like that. And I hope you will subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so, and maybe considering liking this video and hitting the bell button so you won't miss any future videos from me. My plan for this year is actually to come out with 1 video every week, and I will try my best to stick with that one. So I hope you have had a fabulous start at this year, and I hope to hear and see from you soon. Bye!